are we talking about? We're talking about Sailor Moon Crystal. Mostly because I have a woman in my life. Updated Sailor Moon. It's the rebooted Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is the all-girl super magic team, or moon team, whatever they are. Their weird moon powers, they're magical. They are the original magical girl team. Moon Pride. Da 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 da. Moon Pride. あなたの力になりたい. Honestly, they kind of suck. The ideal magical girl team, Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts. That's the pinnacle. But since then, we've been exposed to several versions of the magical girl, let's call it team genre. Most recently, and probably the most successful, is the Madoka Magica series, which has an amazing all-girl magical team. But this is the formula, you know, the whole color-coded teams, any Power Ranger variant ever, this is what that is, only it's all girls. Red, blue, green, yellow, pink, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is what that is, only they're all girls, and terrible. Not because they're all girls, but because they're just making them terrible. They're just making them terrible. There's no reason why Sailor Moon, her first power should be Sonic Crybaby. There's no reason for that. Let's just do it because it's funny. Really? Worst female superhero ever. And she's doing both sides of this. I don't know how she can be empowering and demeaning at the same time, but she's doing it. And you should be impressed and upset. It's told so fast that you don't care. She spends, I believe, like 2 episodes by herself before she gets Sailor Mercury. And then the very next episode, she gets Mars. And then the very next episode after that, she gets Jupiter. That's fucking ridiculous. And then half of them get kidnapped, or she gets kidnapped, or Tuxedo Mask gets kidnapped. Rinse, cycle, repeat. I'm trying not to compare it to the old one, but honestly, I remember the old one being kind of badass. Because if you were like me in the mid to late 90s, you had 2 options during the week before school, and it was either Pokemon or Sailor Moon, and most of you made the right choice and picked Sailor Moon. That's right, I fucking said it. But this is not that. They are the best and the worst example of an all-girl team. Because yes, they all get along and there's no like infighting, nobody's fucking somebody else's man like there should be. If you had a bunch of teenage girls, this is what would be happening. But aside from how well they get along and how well they function as a unit, because that's the really good example of an all-girl team, other than that, they're all fucking idiots. And that's the worst example for any little girl ever, is your superhero ideal to be a fucking idiot. Oh, when things get hard, I'm just gonna cry and then things are gonna work out for me. Really? That's the lesson? Really? That's the lesson? Not, I should handle this myself because I'm strong enough to do it myself? No, I'm gonna cry and wait for a man to help me. Wait for a man in a top hat and a mask to help me. Shame on you, Sailor Moon. And I even stuck it out through the second half, the Black Moon portion, which is the most awkward and terrible daughter meeting ever. Most awkward and the most terrible, because not only does she kiss her dad after basically putting her ass on her mom's head, but then she pulls a gun on her mom and says, "Suck it, bitch." This is terrible. This little girl needs a fucking ass whooping. That's what she needs. It's this weird Electra complex with Black Lady and Tuxedo Mask. It's weird and super uncomfortable. When Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask are fighting, what's his name, Death Phantom, when he's the planet Nemesis, and all of a sudden they start kissing and they get more powerful, and Nemesis starts freaking out, and Tuxedo Mask goes, "Oh, our love made us stronger." I was like, oh my god, they're gonna start like fucking, and it's gonna defeat him, and this is just gonna go over the edge. And at that point I was like, well, I've already sat through all this shit, they may as well just jump over the edge. It's not gonna hurt. But they didn't, and I was a little disappointed. Oh, you like that? You like that, Nemesis? Oh, you like that? Yeah, the power! That's kind of what I wanted to see. But it never happened. They just did it for the money and the merchandise, and it kind of shows. Don't get me wrong, it looks great. It looks great. The animation is actually really good. The voice acting is pretty good. I believe some of the original cast came back. It sounds great. The music's actually really good. They have some really out-of-place hardcore music, which is kind of nice. But otherwise, the show is junk. The show is junk. If you like Sailor Moon for the sake of liking Sailor Moon, then by all means, watch Sailor Moon Crystal. But if you have an idealized version of Sailor Moon, do not watch this shit. Because that's what it is. In the end, I was totally forced to watch it. And in the end, if you're forced to watch it, it's not the worst thing ever. However, my official rating and my unofficial rating system, skippable. If you can avoid it, you should do that. If you can't avoid it, you're not going to die from the Sailor Moon Crystal. Almost, but not quite. Okay, yes. Gun to my head, I have to pick a favorite Sailor Scout, Jupiter. That's right, Sailor Jupiter. She's the tallest, which I kind of dig, and she's the most badass. There. Tall badass bitch? Yes. I'm down. Better than Venus and her weird anal bead belt. I'm not into that. Did you see how many beads were on that thing? That thing is immense. That thing's gonna come out of your mouth. Okay? No. Veen-ass. And there's probably gonna be more, and I'm probably gonna get dragged into watching it, so I might talk about it. But do yourself a favor and don't. If you're familiar with the old one, then just keep that in your mind because, frankly, it's the better of the two. This is AniView by Dave. I, of course, am Dave. If you have any questions, comments, confusions, suggestions, put them below and I will get back to you. See you next time, you magical motherfuckers.